Dan Willis here, and we're talking about how to remove medical bills from your credit report. And to do this, we're going to need to exercise more of your consumer rights, this time those granted by the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is federal legislation passed by Congress way back in 1970. This federal legislation enables us to dispute and challenge any item on our credit report so long as we believe it's inaccurate, misleading, or made in error. And yes, we're going to dispute this medical bill, and if this medical bill is on all three of your credit reports, you're going to have to file three separate disputes, one with Experian, one with TransUnion, and one with Equifax. The credit bureaus are separate entities, and there's three ways to file your credit report dispute. You can do it online, over the phone, or by mail. Once the credit bureaus get your dispute, they first get to deem it valid, which they're required to investigate the item, or they get to deem it frivolous. This is another conversation for another time and place, so of course subscribe and join our congregation. If they find it frivolous, they're going to request more information from you, and if they find it valid, they're required to investigate the item. They'll call it a reinvestigation. Nevertheless, during their investigation or reinvestigation, they're going to contact that collection agency and they're going to ask them for verification of your account. If you've been keeping up with us here, as we shared in the last video, we talked about how to settle with debt collectors. And if you did it our way, as per your settlement agreement, that debt collector is not going to verify your account. And in accordance with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, this means the credit bureaus must remove this medical bill from your credit report. Every single one of those items on your credit report must be verifiable. If you'd like some help, you can get a free credit consultation by calling toll-free 1-877-418-7596. Now, there's a couple of things to do to improve your odds, and especially if you didn't settle with us here, follow our suggestions. By paying off this debt, whether it's with the collection agency, the original creditor, or whomever, it removes the incentive for them to verify your account when the credit bureaus investigate. Because most people won't tell you, not only does it cost the credit bureaus money to investigate your dispute, which is why they're so hesitant and so reluctant, and why our governments find them repeatedly over and over and over again for violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's because it costs the credit bureaus money. But that same thing is true when it comes to the collection agencies or the healthcare providers. So long as that account's been paid, it removes any incentive because there's no value for that collection agency to get out of verifying your account. It's only going to cost them money. If it hasn't been paid, then there is still some value left in that account. Does that make sense here? The other thing, one of the amendments to the Fair Credit Reporting Act years back is if you went to the hospital for a broken leg and you're being billed for brain surgery, which does happen, believe it or not, then you could dispute the healthcare provider directly, bypassing the credit bureaus. That's in rare cases. Now, to kind of wrap this up and to bring it all together, there have been changes. And one of the things is all three of the credit bureaus will now wait 180 days before including medical bills on your credit report. Additionally, they'll promptly remove the item if your insurance company ultimately pays the debt. And the FICO scoring algorithm and the Vantage score, that's who actually calculates your credit scores, they're putting less penalty with their newest search or credit scoring algorithm. They've got less penalty and less weight given to medical debts. The problem is, as of 2017 at the end and moving forward, we've yet to hear of one lender, one company using the newest version of the FICO scoring algorithm. Everybody else uses the FICO 8 and later, and that does penalize medical debt pretty severely. And the fact is, these businesses, these lenders, these creditors, none of them are required to get the newest version of the FICO scoring algorithm. And the fact is, they have a lot of incentive not to because it costs them money to get it. And the fact is, your credit score and your financial future is way too valuable to wait on these guys to spend money. And the truth, when you boil it all down, the biggest challenge you're probably going to encounter is getting the credit bureaus to deem your dispute valid. The credit bureaus have repeatedly broken the Fair Credit Reporting Act repeatedly and almost with impunity. In 2015, one of the more recent, they were fined and agreed to settle and pay $6 million to 31 state attorney generals. Recent years, 60 Minutes did a story sharing and featuring just how darn near impossible it is for the average consumer to get the credit bureaus to deem your dispute valid and subsequently investigate. And one of the best examples is with Equifax and Julie Miller in 2013. Julie woke up one day to discover 38 bogus collection accounts were on her credit report. So she did exactly what she was supposed to, followed the Fair Credit Reporting Act to the letter, filed her disputes. They found them frivolous, and over 2 years later, after Julie had sent W-2s, tax returns, hair samples, DNA, her firstborn child, yes, that's a small exaggeration, but 2 years later, they were still finding her disputes frivolous. So she finally got fed up and sued them. A federal jury awarded her over $18.6 million, which was later reduced to $1.8 million by a federal judge. But here's the kicker of all this. A federal judge found Equifax's behavior so reprehensible that he awarded Julie Miller, it was over $1.6 million, it was 9 times her real life punitive damages. The credit bureaus avoid this, or try to, and do their best to, even in the face of repeated government fines, because there's a whole laundry list more of them for ignoring consumer dispute. It's because it costs them money. It's that simple. It is really that simple. They're required to, according to federal law. And when all is said and done, at the end of the day, your credit score is just like your grade point average GPA in glory school days past. It doesn't matter if you're acing all your courses, if you're failing gym class, because that negative mark is going to drag down and obliterate your overall GPA. This same principle is true of your credit score. FICO is very open about sharing this fact, and this is why it is so imperative to get a better credit score to remove any of those dings, those blemishes, those negative items from your credit report. And listen, we encourage our members to consider professional, legal, and legitimate credit repair companies to help with this, because in 2016 alone, over 9 million negative items were removed from consumer credit reports. One of the best firms is the Credit Pros. They've successfully helped their clients to remove medical bills, late payments, collections, charge-offs, judgments, liens, repossessions, foreclosures, even bankruptcy marks. If you'd like some help, you can get a free credit consultation by calling toll-free 1-877-418-7596. Again, that's for a free credit consultation. The toll-free phone number is 1-877-418-7596. This is Dan Willis. We're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available there, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. And of course, subscribe and join our congregation. Have a wonderful day, and looking forward to talking to you again here soon.